Advances in bow weaponry and technology. The past of bows. Bows were a useful and versatile tool many years in the past. I mean, obviously they've kind of grown obsolete because of other, much better far-ranged weaponry. Obviously guns, crossbows. I mean, guns used to exist years and years and decades. Wait, no. Bows used to exist years and years and decades before. I mean, there were also very primitive guns. I mean, the first one recorded to be known was literally just a bamboo tube with a spear in the end of it, chock full of gunpowder. But bows dated back far, far before that. The invention of weaponry, the inventions of new weaponry has far outclassed it. And I mean, there's not really much use for it anymore other than sporting and just hunting. But still, it's kind of obsolete because there are much, much better options. That's not to say that with our new advancements in technology, we don't have better bows. We've obviously made changes to it. And not to mention the changes made onto the device nowadays with compound bows and other such weaponry. They're still, might not be the best option, but they're still an option. My personal experience with bows started a long while ago. The main reason I chose to focus on such a topic is when I was younger, I used to do archery with programs like Boy Scouts of America, a couple of summer camps, an archery club that I used to go to as a kid. And, you know, when we were in class, I couldn't think of anything I wanted to do. Not much at all. And then Miss Mullins was just like, hey, maybe try reconnecting with like an old habit or an old thing that you've kind of grown distant from here. So I thought this would be a great way to kind of get back into it. And quickly, I decided I wanted to construct my own bow from scratch. Now, starting something like this is very difficult, and it was definitely just a leap, and I wanted to try and follow through with it the best I could, and you know, in the end, I made it there. Now, the first thing that I need to do is I need to choose a type of bow. Obviously, a compound bow is off the table, but there's two main types of bows. The main difference is that a recurve bow is curved towards the ends. That's the end design that I wound up choosing. It's curved slightly backwards, so more power is directed into the arrow. Now, would it have been easier to try and make a longbow because it's mostly just a straight stick? Yes. Was it more difficult to make a recurve bow? Yes. Do I regret it? Maybe. But in the end, I settled on making a recurve bow. Crafting the bow. The first step of making the bow was to get a piece of wood that was curved on either one or both of the ends. I chose this one because I thought not only is it curved back enough, but, well, I didn't choose it because of the second choice, but the reason why it eventually became more used to have something like this is that it made it easier to bend it back and string it up. Obviously, it's two pieces. The most important part of making a bow like this is that, one, it takes time. You gotta wait for like a month at the least. They say 6 months. I don't have that time because then this wouldn't have gotten done at all. And you know, I was very, very lucky that it hadn't snowed yet when I actually went out to grab it, because that would have had so many other problems. But you'll see that there's still bark on one side, while this side is shaved down and whittled to obviously have its notches and have its where you'd hold it. But why wouldn't I like make it easier to hold here or do any design? It's because for the structural integrity of the bow, you can't make any blemishes. You can't have anything on this side or else it'll crack and snap. Before I actually strung the bow the third time, which is unfortunately when it snapped, I started to notice a crack about 1 centimeter slowly going across it, and I didn't think it was a big deal. It was. For the string of the bow, I eventually settled on paracord because the first thing I tried was like this ropey twine material, which snapped rather quickly. And that was unfortunate. I mean, I kind of got a nice gash on my wrist, which is luckily healed, but yeah. Other than that, I just had to wrap both the ends where I had notches on both sides and carve a little bit, and it was right and true. Pretty easy. There's a picture of it when I was still dealing with the string. You can tell as it comes down this side, it starts to thin out and then start to thicken here a bit where you'd hold it, and then start to thin out again. You can see where it's curving towards that end because it's a recurve bow instead of a long bow, which would have been much easier. But difficulties in overcoming them. Obviously, this wasn't just plain sailing, and there was a lot on the table with how if it snapped, I couldn't try again, because trying again would mean waiting another month or waiting another 6 months for the bow to dry out before I could actually, make it into a bow. Now, my first attempt on trying to my second attempt with paracord, because the first one was the twine. Kind of forgot about that when making this. The second attempt, I got an end to snap off. And it was not good, because as you can tell, it really only has the recurve on this side now, which technically still happens for some recurve bows. You can look online, there's recurve bow designs where there's only one. Still a recurve bow. It's not half now, but luckily there was still enough and it hadn't snapped down the middle where it truly be done. Technologies. Now, this was by far my favorite and most interesting part of the project, was researching the old technologies and all of that. Now, one of the coolest things I found was this is obviously a fire arrow. Well, not obviously, but what they would do is they'd wrap cloth, wrapped with sulfur and stuff, and embers. So when they shot it, it might go out when it's flying, but once it hits its target, it would immediately relight. And my other favorite part is these things. Now, these have been discovered, and there's a ton of this could have been used for this could have been used this, it's disputed. But some people say it's used to cut rope, and there's stories, and there's actually found at one of the Colosseums at Rome, maybe the only one, I don't know. I'm not much of a Rome guy, but apparently they developed special arrowheads specifically for cutting off the heads of ostriches in the Colosseum. Bit weird, but kind of cool. And obviously technology has gone so far with bows and stuff. I mean, not to mention the fact that there's 3 strings here. You could give that to a frozen Neanderthal and they'd have no idea what in the world it is. It's pretty cool. Now, I had fun doing this. It was a great way to reconnect with an old hobby of mine, and it was genuinely fun to shoot it around when it worked. I would have brought a flint mapped arrow in here today, but I kind of shot him off into the yard and it kind of snowed, and I'm going to be honest with you, I did not want to dig around in the snow at 11 p.m. at night for however long it would have taken the day before I have to present this.
Which type of arrow did you use? What rough shape was it?
Okay, the one I kind of chose was not really that aerodynamic.
Okay.
Out of all of them, it would look... One side would look like this, and then the other side kind of dented in, because I was trying to chip it sharper, and then I accidentally chopped off too much of that. Well, not chopped off. Flint mapping, you're using a rock against a rock just to bang it to shape. And sadly, it just banged off too much where I didn't feel comfortable breaking the other side, because finding the actual type of rock that you need to flint map is very difficult. You need a rock that's either waxy or glassy in look and texture. And you know, in the middle of the winter, digging through a freezing cold riverbed when you have to like break ice around it to find things is very difficult. Another one that I made was literally just, I took the stick, I wasn't making an end, I just took the end, wood burned it into the shape of kind of a spear, and then chucked the fragments that I took from banging off the other pieces of the other arrowhead, and I stuck them on. Which I actually used to do to make like razor shards that would fall off when they shot somebody or something, or deer.
So did you have to go through the river to find those rocks, or had you already had them? Boy Scout stuff?
No, I didn't just have rocks. I mean, I have some rocks. No, I had to go through, just dig around the stream. That's actually how I got a lot of my trail maintenance, was not only just cleaning up so getting to the trail was easier, because it wasn't really a trail to the stream. It was just one bridge over it, and then there was another stream. There's no path in between. I just knew, okay, path goes to here, it stops, and it goes to there. And I tried to make an actual trail in between them. That, cleaning up around the river, cleaning it so I could actually use the bridges. I kind of fell through one of the bridges because it rotted away a bit, which, ouch. But no, through just going through the stream and digging under mud and freezing my hands, I got enough rocks for it.
It seems like it would be worth digging for the arrows then, if you put in all that effort to find the arrow.
Well, yeah, but it's...
Maybe just wait till spring.
Wait, I'm gonna find them in the yard eventually. It's not like I'm just gonna leave them there, no.
I was curious about the knots on the bow.
The notches?
The knots that you tied with the rope, like are those certain kinds of knots, or?
This one, I originally had like an actual knot here, but I couldn't figure out why it wasn't like, because as I would pull on it, like when I tried to tighten it, it would slide and it would lose tension, so the bow couldn't be, no, that's not the right word. Anyway, so I eventually just settled on this. I do not know what type of knot this is. I do not. I just kind of went for it, and it works because, you know, slick with the rope, loosen it, tighten it, all that. Probably just something I learned at Boy Scouts. I don't remember the name. It's just kind of, you take the line, wrap around your I'm not going to explain that, but yeah, no, it was definitely a fun project, and I realized eventually that trying to cut in here wasn't really the best idea, because I just could string it up here where it'd be much tighter and get a lot more power in the bow because it curves back more here.
Yeah, that notch comes in handy, it seems, the bump on the side of it.
Yeah, no, well, the thing that I would do is going back to earlier when it was talking about how I had to wrap it around. What really I was doing is I would just get it to here in this notch, and I would make sure it's tight, and then I would just bend it down to try and slowly get it to work up here. First time, no, not the first time. It doesn't matter. One of the times when I tied the knot, it was too tight, so I got here, and I just kept bending it, and I'm like, why can't I? And I was like, oh, it's stuck. So.
Do you think if you were to do it again, if you were to make another bow, would you do the recurve again, or would you do
No.
the long? Yeah?
No, I would not.
Lesson learned there?
Lesson definitely learned. I mean, it's nice to maybe have that extra power, but really, I'm not gonna hunt with this. It's just something cool to have,
Yep.
or would have been. But yeah, no, it's
Neat.
All right, great job. Thank you, Nick.
Nice job, Nick.
Clap, clap, clap.